Hello, I welcome you to this edition of this web development training. Um, in today's class, we shall be looking into the HTML classes and the HTML IDs. Actually, let me create the uh, HTML5 template and let me name it classes and IDs. All right. So now, what is the essence of using classes and IDs for your HTML? Now, to use classes and IDs, we actually use the tag, the HTML tag called div. Now, whatever that appears within this div is uh, may contain some HTML properties or maybe HTML tags, like maybe the paragraph tag, and it can contain some random text. Um, let's have some 12 words, and let me make sure I indent this properly. So in this, I can have up to, let me copy this. I can have up to maybe 5 or 4 different divs with a paragraph. So let's view this on our browser and see what we have there. Then we can be able to, differentiate and see. So we can see that this HTML, it actually displays within the screen of our browser. Let me minimize so that we can always see what we are doing. All right, now take for instance, I want to give the first one a red color. I can actually specify the style, or rather I can go to this. Don't bother yourself about this because we will still talk about the CSS. So let's say I want to style the paragraphs, and I said paragraph, and I want to give it a color of maybe red, and automatically all of them takes the red color. So let's say I want to make sure that these two, they have the same color, while these two, this first last one and the first one, have the same colors. So what do I do to be able to differentiate, since they have the same HTML um, tags? So in this case, what I should be doing is to, assign a class to them. So I can actually assign a class. Maybe I call the class of this one to, text text dash red. It doesn't matter, you can give it any name of your choice. The name does not matter, but you use the name of the class to reference it in the CSS so that you can have the property of that CSS attributed to that particular HTML class. So maybe this one, I would like to have a class of maybe text blue. So I'll give this same class to the third one. Then I'll give the last one the same color, the same class with the first one. So text dash red. Now, if I come to my style and change the paragraph and say that I want to get the class, so we get the class by placing a dot at the beginning, then the name of the class. So I can say the class for the red is text dash red. And those classes that have red, we take the red color. So this is just to specify that I want this one and this one to be the same. I want to give them the same thing that appears here. I want it to be here. Instead of writing it individually, one after the other, it will take time. I can simply give them one class and they take the same styling. So this is the essence of using styling. Okay, for these ones that I attributed to text blue, let's work on them as well. So we can actually also come down here and then we can say dot text blue, and then we want the color to be blue, and they will take blue colors. And maybe I also want the font family. I want the font family to, sorry, I also want the font family to be maybe Lucid. And you can see they take different fonts. Maybe I also want the font weight or the font weight to be, bolder. And you can see that it gets bold. And this automatically, this style goes to the classes that have the same name. If I want this one to have the same color and the same style with these ones, I will simply come down here and change the class to be the same class with the other ones, and it automatically turns to the same thing. So this is one reason why we use classes. So we can actually put class in anywhere, even in this paragraph. I can even differentiate it from the others by assigning a class to it. Let's say bold, din, and then we can come down here to this and we can say dot bolding, and maybe, oh sorry, or maybe we want to have maybe the background color of maybe green, and you can see what happened there. This is the only one that has the green color, and that is because it is the only one with the class. This paragraph is the only paragraph with the class bolding. If I add this class to any of these other paragraphs, it's going to take the same style. You can see that even in this red one, if I go there and go to the paragraph there and add this class, it will automatically take this while still maintaining the red, which is the first class it has been attributed to. So this is actually why we use classes and IDs. We can also use classes and IDs to, specify a JavaScript. We can use it to drag in JavaScript functions into a website. We'll see that later on, but I'm going to use CSS because this is the next class that we should be having in our web development journey. So because of that, I am going to be making more use of the HTML and CSS instead of making reference to JavaScript, because JavaScript is actually a programming language, and it is actually different from what we have here. In HTML and CSS, we are more of talking about the user interface designs, the colors, the font positioning, font padding, and all that. We are actually looking at the beautification of that website using our CSS, and HTML is just more of designing the block or maybe the markup or the structure of the website. So, but JavaScript gives it a function or interactivity that makes the website more user friendly. Okay, so we are not going to be jumping straight into JavaScript for now. So I'm going to make some case use of IDs as well. So I'm going to push the classes down. So I'm going to also have ID. So to start writing any ID, you can simply specify an ID using hash and then the name of the ID. So for instance, maybe I want to have a nav bar ID, and I will hit enter, and automatically the element I have installed on this system will automatically create a div with an ID of navbar. For the classes, you just simply specify dot and then the name of the class. For instance, maybe sidebar, for example, sidebar. If you hit enter, it's going to create a class, a div with a class of sidebar. So if you are writing for class, it starts with a dot, but if you are writing for the ID, it starts with an hash. All right, and it is of the same use case. So let's say I want to create a window of something, maybe a window. So I can say, I can even leave this empty if I like. If I don't, I can simply create paragraph or whatever I want to create. So I can simply create a paragraph and generate some random text, maybe Lauren 15. Okay, so now this is what I created. I can simply assign, okay, I've assigned it an ID. So let me create more IDs. Okay, so let me have two IDs. Now, in my CSS, I can simply come down here and say that I want this to be an ID, and I am going to specify the name of the ID. So in my case, the ID is navbar. So I'm going to say navbar. And then, so within my CSS, I want it to have a border style, border style, sorry, border style of solid, and automatically the two of them now have border style solid. So I'm going to set a margin for them, margin of 4 pixels for them, so that they can show, you can now see that they now look a little different from themselves. I can as well uh, specify that I want text in it to be at the center. So I can say text align center, and the text will be at the center. Now you don't need to bother yourself more on getting these codes that I write at the top, which is the CSS codes. I am just actually making use of it to make you understand the reasons why we use IDs and classes in HTML. Thank you. I'm going to end this class for now. In our next class, we are going to be introducing CSS, which is the cascading style sheet that is used to beautify our HTML pages. Thank you very much, and God bless you.